This is readaligndoalignCooking.com. My name is Mike Pierce. Welcome to my kitchen and welcome to my home. Today we're doing several things different. One of them is the angle. We're trying out a new tripod, see if it works a little better over here by the stove. I really need a cooktop on my island, but I don't have one. I'm not getting one anytime soon, so it is what it is. Anyways, that's the first thing. Second thing is we are actually doing a real recipe from a real book. This is the Mafia Cookbook by Joseph Joe Dogz Iannuzzi. And he has a recipe in here for pasta marinara that I like because it's a little different. For most of us, if you're talking spaghetti sauce, for a lot of people, it's, including me, it's something like brown some ground beef, throw in some crushed tomatoes, diced tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, whatever it is, some tomato sauce, maybe some tomato paste, put in a fair amount of garlic, and then for most of us, we just throw in a pile of Italian seasoning and we call it a day. It works fine, tastes pretty good most of the time, not really complaining. This one's a little different. So first, let me just read you the ingredients, okay? 2 cloves of garlic, crushed and chopped fine. We'll probably use 4 or 5 because I love garlic. A 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1 28-ounce can of peeled tomatoes, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of dry mustard, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 2 tablespoons crushed dried basil, and 1 cup of chicken stock. So a little different, right? That's one of the things I like about it. It's kind of designed for you and your significant other for dinner, this amount of stuff, okay? And the nice thing is it's pretty easy to make, looks pretty impressive, whatever. So all we're gonna do, we're gonna use actual garlic, not out of the jar tonight, and we're gonna prep the garlic. So crush it, peel it, dice it up. Then we're going to take our saucepan, put it on the heat, give it a couple minutes. Then we're gonna throw in some olive oil, give it a couple minutes. Then we're gonna throw in the garlic. It says to saute the garlic until it dissolves. Do not brown or burn. I don't know if we're gonna make it dissolve or not, we'll see. Either way, we'll try not to brown it or burn it. Then it tells you to put in the tomatoes, and we'll do that, simmer for 5 minutes, then add everything else, give it 25 to 30 minutes. During that 25 to 30 minutes, I'll turn on the water to boil the pasta, and I'll probably open a bottle of wine behind me just because I plan on having a glass of wine tonight. So that's it. As always, one on me, one on the down angle. Hopefully this works pretty well. And, oh, there's 1 or 2 other modifications we're gonna make. I tend to put cayenne pepper in my spaghetti sauce. Not a lot, just a tiny bit, more than a tiny bit, a little bit. I think it tastes a lot better. And 2, this thing has no meat in it. So I got some salami out of the freezer, and salami and marinara sauce is very good, except this is sliced salami, like lunch meat. It works a lot better if you have the real log and you can cut thick slices and then make big chewy chunks. They're really good. Anyways, this is what we're doing. I'll actually post this recipe to the website. So anyways, let's get started. Thanks for coming. Just gonna open up this. A little garbage pail here for that. So the easiest way to do garlic is just what we just did, is just remove it, put your knife on it, crush it. Except on the stove, that sounds terrible when you do it. On the countertop, not so bad. Okay, and then it's really easy to peel because when you crush it, the peel kind of comes off. Certainly be finer, but it's pretty close. Set this aside. Get the garbage pail out of here. Okay, let's move the cookbook. Putting it on about medium heat should be fine. You want to give it a couple minutes to heat up before you put the oil in. These things are kind of handy. They're scrapers. You use them a lot in baking apparently, but they're good to keep you from using your knife to scrape things up, because you really don't want to do it. You'll see me do it occasionally, but I try not to. You try and use the back side of the knife or something, but these things work really well and they're really cheap. And as long as I'm mentioning gizmos, this holds olive oil. It opens, you can drizzle it. I'm not going to use it for this because it calls for a 1/4 cup and that's kind of a lot. So I'm just going to dump it out of the big bottle. But they're really handy to have next to your stove, just because you never know when you just need a quick little bit of olive oil. Okay, pan's pretty warm. Let's get our 1/4 cup in there. Okay, it's not dissolving, but it's just about to start browning, so we don't want that, according to the recipe. Let's put in our tomatoes. That was mildly terrifying. So we're going to let that simmer about 5 minutes. While that's happening, I'm going to slice up my salami into smaller pieces and probably do a little cleanup. I was stirring a fair bit because I didn't want it to go everywhere, and I didn't want the lid on because it's less interesting to watch. So it's been close enough to 5 minutes. We're going to let it run quite a while anyways. So what I wanted to do next was just add all of our ingredients. So the big one is the cup of chicken stock. And 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. That's 1/4, here's 1/2. Okay. 1/4 teaspoon of dry mustard. Oops. It's got one of these little gizmos on it, they come right off. Okay. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Would grind it, but I'm trying to use this up. That. And 2 tablespoons of crushed dried basil. And the last thing would be our salami, which again is not ideal, but it's pretty tasty. Gives it a little bit of heft. Although I may put some more in as well. Anyways, there you go. We're going to let that simmer for probably a 1/2 hour. In the meantime, I'll turn on the water and get that boiling and start the pasta. I'm going to clean up a little bit while I'm waiting. And we're off to the races. Be right back. This is an aerating pour spout. So at this point, it's simmering. The water is starting to warm up for the pasta. I've poured myself a glass of wine. For the simmering sauce, I've turned it down to pretty low because it was boiling pretty heavy. We're not looking for that. We also don't want to burn it. and I don't want to stand here stirring the whole time. So anyways, watching a covered pot is probably not the most exciting thing, so I'm just going to stop recording, finish this. I'll stir every few minutes in case you're curious. When the pasta is done, 8 to 11 minutes, I'll drain it, throw it in a bowl, put some sauce on it, and then show it to you. Okay, so we're back. I've cleaned up the kitchen. The pasta's finished. The sauce is basically finished. I'm wearing an oven mitt because I'm ready. I didn't drink all the wine. It's always a good thing. The only change I would make in this recipe, because I wasn't paying enough attention the couple times I've made it before, is I'm going to show it on the down angle. If you don't know if you can see, there's still a fair bit of oil left. I'm not sure that you really need a quarter cup of olive oil. You might just be able to get away with just drizzling some in and then tossing the garlic in. I don't know what the point was of that. Everything else looks wonderful. It smells great. I've already tasted it with a little spoon. It's very good. So I'm going to ladle some on the down camera so we can see it. And I am going to enjoy this. Probably a little heavy on the sauce, but that's the way I like it. Some of my not so freshly ground Parmesan. Yeah, we're gonna get chunks. And there we are. This is a really neat recipe for a bunch of reasons. So again, let's take the date scenario. One, it's different than what you'd normally do. It wins points for that. Two, you do a little work that looks kind of impressive, then you ignore it. That gives you time to clean up, talk to your date, and then finish it off, and off you go. It's really nice. It's very tasty. Like I said, I've already tried it. Anyways, we're all done. If you like the video, please like the video. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe. Occasionally go to the website, readalinedocooking.com. This recipe I will actually post. It'll be the first recipe I've posted because most of them are just dumb. This one actually has some ingredients. Like I said, the only thing I'd really change, I would add less olive oil. I don't think it was necessary. It seemed like too much. But it's a fun book. It reads like a novel because the guy talks about what they were doing before he made the pasta, what they were doing before he made the lasagna. It's not real high-level mob stuff, but it's kind of fun. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, thank you so much.